You were president when Columbine happened. And at the time, obviously, we were all horrified, but almost thought of that as a one-off. That's now become a regular occurrence. You and I grew up in a culture where everybody we went to church with, everybody that was in our neighborhood, they all went out hunting. You've talked about shotguns growing up. Same here. But it's gotten so extreme. What do we do?
Well, one thing's pretty clear is whatever we do, we need to do it more together. And I think we need to start talking across this divide. I remember when Jack Brooks, who was a congressman from Texas, had enjoyed the support of the NRA in every election he was ever in, and Tom Foley, the Speaker of the House from Washington. They both told me that when the Senate put in the assault weapons ban into the crime bill, which I wanted, that if I signed it, we would lose the House. And we did. And they lost their seats because of the ability of the NRA to terrify people, but also because we were beginning to lose touch with each other across cultural divides that had always existed but hadn't been barriers you couldn't breach.
Right, but don't you think that's changing a bit with whether it's Republican extremism on guns, whether it's Republican extremism on abortion? You look at what happened in Kansas, you look at what happened in Wisconsin last week, you look at what happened in Michigan. Don't you think voters are finally, these swing voters are finally saying enough?
Yes, and I think if you look at after Roe v. Wade was repealed, the people that went, like in Michigan, they went straight to the ballot box. In Kansas, straight to the ballot box. I think if I urged this approach way back in the 90s on trying to restrict assault weapons. But it's a lot of trouble. You know, it's costly, it takes time. And we've never done the ballot box as much as we should have. In Colorado in 2000, when President Bush beat Al Gore fairly decisively, I think by 9 points or something, Colorado voted for background checks at gun shows by 70% in a referendum. Because a big problem with gun owners is they say, well, you know, what these people want to do sounds reasonable, but it's a slippery slope. How do I know we'll be limited? And I argued that we ought to just put it all up for referendums and let people vote on it. Let them try to, then neighbors have to talk to neighbors. They have to treat each other like people. Because, on my side, there are too many people who favor a lot of these gun measures who don't know any of these country people. Right. And they don't understand that, most of them you would be glad to have as neighbors if your house caught on fire. Because they'd come over and take your kids to safety and come back and help you put the fire out. But this whole thing has come to stand for something that's not what it's about. It's crazy. And we need to start asking each other for help on this. This is, it is not rational that we should have a dramatically higher death rate among school-age children because of gun violence than any other country in the world. And, a lot of people get mad about this thoughts and prayers. But if you believe that you have to, if you believe you are compelled to let kids die in order to keep your freedoms, that's sort of the way this debate is. And it reminds me of, come back to Ireland, when we started talking about this, we were asking people to go to meetings who had lost family members in this violence. We were asking people to go to meetings with people they knew had set off bombs. But that's the way you begin again. You have to do it. And I think on the gun thing at home, the only thing I will say is I think that the people like me who think we ought to limit ammunition clips to 10 bullets, for example, we just need to start asking these people for help, asking them to come to meetings, asking them to talk to us. Because you don't have to win them all. You just have to get people who will believe that you're not going to take their guns away, you're not going to take their right to hunt and sport shoot away, that if you're not going to take away their right to have weapons to protect their families if they live way out in the country in a rural area that's an hour, maybe 2 hours from the nearest law enforcement.
Well, these voids, these political extremes also exist as it pertains to women's health. You heard former President Bill Clinton talking about abortion.